Hi girls, welcome to the Cozy Corner where we get to be ourselves and have real girl chats. If you enjoy getting into the juicy details of womanhood, epiphanies, friendship, money, and more, keep watching. Be sure to subscribe if you want more videos like this. Let's jump into the topic. This is something that's been developing for years now, but I figured it was a great time to actually discuss manners and being polite and showing up as a woman in the world, because I've basically been someone who has been trained over the top with manners from the time that I can even remember, like my first blink of life, okay? This goes way back. The moment that I stopped being so polite every single place that I go all of the time was when my world finally opened up. And I realized that when you stop being so polite and so courteous to the point of exhaustion, you actually realize what it means to live unapologetically. I never actually understood what people were talking about when they would say, live unapologetically, live unapologetically. What does that mean? Okay. There's that point. And then there's the point of thinking, like maybe you might be thinking, oh, so this girl's so rude. She's disrespectful. She doesn't have any manners or class. No, absolutely not. Manners and politeness are ingrained in me. You cannot take that away. And it's like how money can't buy you class. You kind of can't buy manners either. You either have them or you don't. And it starts when you are a kid. Like I said, I will get into that. But being overly polite is almost feeding into the patriarchy to the point of exhaustion, like how I was saying before. As women, we're taught to make ourselves smaller and to accommodate the rooms and the spaces of other people. And what this looks like often is saying, oh, sorry, or, oh, excuse me. And you're saying it in instances where you're not the person who should even be saying, excuse me. And, oh, sorry, that just becomes a habit. You're not sorry. You didn't even do anything that warrants being sorry or apologizing, but you just say it in the first place. You make yourself small. You move out of the way all of the time. That was something that I did especially in grocery stores. It's hard to beat that out of myself. And again, I understand before you say, oh, so you're just rude. No, but I realize I've been making myself small physically to make sure other people aren't uncomfortable for so long. And I just don't want to anymore. And guess what? The world still spins. This is what we as women have to realize. We're not put on this planet to make other people feel better about themselves at the cost of our own comfortability. So let me take it to when I was a kid. I was taught that you say, of course, the basic manners, please, thank you, excuse me. And that was ingrained from the time my first memory was when I was like 2 years old, okay? And I just remember, which is why I do this. The biggest example that I ever saw was my mom would always say, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. You know, when you're passing people in the grocery store and they may not even be looking in your direction, but you kind of cross their path. So you're cutting off their view. Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. She would say that all the time. So of course I learned that. Now I think it is better to teach your children too many manners because you don't really want these rude, out of control people just walking around the face of the earth, which we do have those, right? But what that did is it made it so that it's not a bad thing, okay? But it's like, I spent so much time apologizing and I already know this about myself. I don't know how you feel. Are you someone who genuinely feels sort of, I guess the word would be docile and overly courteous and soft spoken. Do you feel like that about yourself? I personally do not feel like that. I don't have an issue saying what I want to say. I don't really have an issue with respectful confrontation, or if someone genuinely were to push past me and bump me out of the way, I tell them, excuse you, in the calmest way that I possibly can. So I don't have an issue. I don't think I'm too soft spoken to where people walk all over me. So this is why being overly polite to the point of exhaustion just doesn't actually work for me the way that I am. And so I live in a big city, and I have lived in major cities for now a decade. And I know I can get away with this more. What I'm explaining of not being so overly polite, you can get away with this more in bigger cities, bigger towns in general. If you're traveling, you don't have to be so over accommodating because everyone's in a rush. Everyone has somewhere to be. People know that they're going to kind of brush past. You don't even have time to swap all of these pleasantries and say sorry to everything. And you just don't have to do it. So maybe that's part of why I can get away with it. But for instance, if you live in the South or in other cultures outside the United States, wherever it is, there are different customs. And I do know I'm not sure which specific country in Asia, but I've some of my friends, they tell me, you just don't say excuse me. You don't do that. That's not a custom in some Asian cultures, and it's not considered rude. Now here, you have to be very careful. You can't just push past people. It depends on each city. In the South, you have to speak to people. You have to look people in the eye. You have to say good morning. You have to say good night. You have to ask people how they're doing. I have to just be honest. I don't want to do that all the time, most of the time, 99% of the time. So this goes with being unapologetic, not rude. I just live in a way that makes sense for me, and a way that feels authentic to me. When I stopped being so polite and courteous to the point of exhaustion, my world opened up. I feel like I'm just being myself. I feel like I can maneuver in spaces without putting out so much energy, because again, circling back to the way that women are taught to show up in the world, I just don't want to do it. There are going to be different stages in my life. I may have a family and, children and a husband. All of that may come about. And women are always in a position of taking on more and taking on more. So for the past couple of years now, I dropped the facade, because that's part of what I really do feel like it is. Being overly polite is a facade, and it's just part of the mask that a lot of women wear in order to get along and get by, because that's what you think you're supposed to be doing. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry about that. And I'm sorry. Starting sentences, even in the workplace. I caught myself doing this the other day. Sorry. When I'm looking for something that someone needs and there's just a pause and a silence, stop saying sorry. I'm not sorry, but how is it that one of my filler words in a moment of silence is sorry? It's programming. And it takes it will take clearly my entire life to undo this docile teaching that that women are supposed to be, because in my world, that's not how I care to show up, because it wastes a lot of energy. I care to show up in so many other positive, genuine ways, instead of acting as if I need to be small and I need to show respect that isn't due. respect is earned. So everyone does not just get the you know how when people say the waterworks, when people start crying for nothing, it's like the politeness waterworks. Showering people with fake manners is just as bad as not having them, you see? And that is what I've learned, and it feels so good. Let me know your take on this. I hope I'm genuinely making sense when I talk about this. And to sum everything up of what I'm trying to say is that as a woman, it's important that you show up unapologetically. And for me, this actually started with undoing over the top fake politeness. And as of right now, I'm still thriving and I'm not apologizing for it. You see, this is a quick one. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment if this resonates with you. If you want to discuss anything more, let me know your thoughts, and I will see you in the next video.